Good morning, everyone. I hope that I look clear right here. Do I? I look in the profile, right? So this is more straight to the camera? Okay, great. And it's the reason why we're doing this free webinar is that we want to invite you to be with us online more and more. And I would like to thank to all the participants that came here. So I want to talk about the principles of natural vision improvement and the principles of self-healing through movement. All of them really are in my books, Vision for Life and Awakening Your Power of Self-Healing. And if Ryan, you can bring me the two books, it would be great. And the first thing that I would like to say about this is that self-healing through movement is a whole new way of looking at the body, in that the body becomes really tired of overworking parts of it way overworking parts of it too much and underworking others. This book, Awakening the Power of Self-Healing, with 26 chapters, shows you how to methodically work on it. I won't have time to go through the book, but basically we're talking about your breathing, your circulation, your muscular system, your digestive system. All your systems will be approached in here. This book is talking mainly on vision, the vision improvement book, Vision for Life. And I'm so proud that in a short book, I really captured how you can work with nearsightedness, farsightedness, astigmatism, cataract, how you can work with glaucoma and many others. So you can get the books right now. So I want to, first of all, without taking any more time, talk about the principles of natural vision improvement. There are 9 of them. Number 1 is deep relaxation of the eyes. Number 2 is adaptation to different light frequencies. That means adapting and amplitude, adapting to the strong skylight, adapting to the sunlight without need to have sunglasses. Means having very strong pupils that can constrict well. Adaptation to the darkest possible night. That means you need to have very wide pupils and more retinal cells that work than in modern time. Basically, because we don't adapt to the dark, I think that we put a lot of pressure on our visual system. So one first hint is don't turn the light on in the hall. And if you need to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, try to find your way without needing to turn the light on, unless you can't. The next principle is looking at a distance. As people who are city dwellers and people who are too much indoors, we basically are looking too much from near. For example, when we look at our smartphone, can you pass me my smartphone? When we look at a smartphone, we normally look from near. We basically are not looking so much from far. And so it's so important to look at the distance at least 20 minutes a day. And otherwise, it's quite easy to get cataract because the lens needs that movement of looking from near and far. So those who started to have cataract, look at the distance a lot and wave your hands to the side when you do it. The next principle is looking at details. We have a very precious area in the retina called the macula, and even more precious, deeper than that, is the fovea. The macula is 1.5% of the total receptor fields. The fovea is 0.5%. And if we look at smaller and smaller details, like if you look at a flower and you look at its petals, you slowly see better. Because of our lifestyle of being overwhelmed with details, being overwhelmed with information we read in books, we stop looking at details, and that's, in my opinion, how many people get macular degeneration. Next principle is peripheral vision. in our modern life, we stop using it as much as before. We need to use more of our central periphery to know where we're looking, and much more of our very extreme periphery to have a sense of what's around us. I look forward at the camera, but I see at the same time myself on the TV with my periphery, the windows, and the decor in the room. So it's very important for all of us to have peripheral vision. And next principle is balance use of the two eyes. And we do many exercises along those lines because quite often one eye overpowers another, and that is imbalance for the visual system. The next one is learning to balance the use of each eye. We look downward at the area of our nose centrally. We don't look enough outwards. We don't look enough sideways. And next principle is working with the eyes and the body. And I have many stories about that, how I was able to get so many people to have much more of the visual field, either in one eye or in both eyes, when we use the body and the eyes together. Last but not least is a wonderful principle of bringing more blood circulation to the eyes. So let's start by preparing ourselves for palming. We're going to loosen up our arms and our neck. So interlace your fingers and move your arms in rotating motion. And Ryan, if for any reason you can show me how people do it, I would love that. Or, yeah. So you move your arms in rotating motion. The hands are touching each other, and so you move all the way up, and you move sideways, and you move all the way up, and you move to the other side. Very nice. I'm seeing at least one person doing it correctly. All the way above the head. Can you move some for more people, Ryan? All the way. Very good. All the way in rotation. All the way. So you move it. You don't just keep it up. You do it all the way up, all the way sideways, all the way to the other side. Yeah, very good. Very, very good. It's so nice to see other people doing it correctly. Now do the opposite. Point the hands outwards. Ryan, show me to everybody, please. We don't need to see people. I'm seeing that they're doing the exercises perfectly fine. So I'm putting my hands outwards. That creates a wonderful stretch on the wrist. And so I'm moving the arms in rotating motion in both directions. This is the second time I'm doing Zoom, and I'm really happy about it because Zoom allows me to see how other people are working, and I'm seeing that people are really doing it seriously and getting it right. So all the way down, so your fingers will really stretch all the way sideways. So the wrist and finger stretch all the way up, all the way sideways. You really, really are loosening your hands. Yeah, very good. And you do it fantastic. Now rub your hands so they will be warm. Here's the next thing that we're going to do. And Jean, if you want to join me and sit here, if there's that possibility, unless we need your help. So we sit down. And I just want you to know that if you have a table with pillows, that's the best that you can do. Because what I have is what's called a palming stick. We didn't have the best palming sticks made, but what I like about it, I have 5 of them in my home. And this is that I can actually move it. I have a spring here, and I can move it from up and down. Sometimes we put a pin or a screw to keep it in a certain place. But you see, when I sit on the chair or on the ball, it's easy. When I sit on the floor and do the palming on the floor, I need to make it higher than on a chair. So it's interesting that in the floor, because of the fact that more of my body is down, oops, I just got this out, yeah. Here we go. I need actually a higher elevation for my palms. While if I sit on a ball, I need a lower elevation. Actually, I mean, it's slightly too high. This is perfect. So before we're going to do palming, and I'm giving you a minute to get yourself pillows on tables or on chairs. You can really make yourself comfortable. The few things that I need to tell you, see how I'm touching So, putting my hands extremely gently around her eye orbits. So, when you go into palm, you're going to put your hands very, very, very gently around the eye orbits, which is going to really relax the eyes. If you put too much pressure on the cheekbones, that is not good. You have to put the softest possible touch on the cheekbones, okay? So the exercise of palming is an exercise of relaxation. Before we palm, remember, we move the arms in rotating motion in both ways, right? But then let's massage the head. We separate between the skull and the scalp. So we massage all the way from the occipital area to the top and to the side. That's how we massage, right? All the way. From the back to the front.
We have a question from Danielle. She has her lenses and she wants to know if she should take them out.
Danielle asked if she has, can we hear her talk or we can't?
Eventually we can.
But today we can't. Okay.
Right.
Okay, we're starting our technology.
Mm-hmm.
Danielle, you can keep your lenses, but my absolute preference is that you take them out. I know that it's hard for people to see how poorly they see without their lenses, but I think it is better for the eyes. The eyes have more oxygen without the lenses, and since we're working on relaxation of the eyes, having more oxygen in them. So again, let's massage the forehead. The head, and massage the top of the head and the sides. And now rub your hands and feel how warm they are. And if you have somebody in the room, rub hands with them, right? You rub mine, I rub yours. Looks like that's what they do in Washington D.C. these days, right? So we rub each other's hands. So we rub and rub and rub. Okay, very good. And then extremely gently, we will put the hands over the eye orbits. So in real time, we have to do it for about 6 minutes. I'm going to watch the time. So your hands around the eye orbits, very, very gently. And focus on your breathing. Feel how your abdomen and lower back, as well as the chest and the ribs, expand when you breathe in and shrink when you breathe out. Focus on your breathing. The only one who will probably take away the hands before time will be me, because I will check that it's 6 minutes. 6 minutes is the absolute minimum time for palming. So some people call it capping, and I don't really mind if the fingers are overlapping each other or they are apart. I've heard all kinds of discussions about that. It's best to do it in a dark room, but obviously we don't have the equipment to put in a dark room to show you, so we're putting a camera in a brighter room. But the dark room is the best, and there's a huge difference between palming and sleep. Because when you sleep, you relax passively, and when you palm, you relax actively. So breathe deeply and breathe slowly. And we can count 7 as we inhale and 11 as we exhale. Slowly, slowly breathe in and slowly, slowly breathe out. And people believe that deep breathing is forceful breathing, but that's wrong. Deep breathing is actually gentle, slow breathing, where the brain wants you to inhale deeper and deeper. So slowly, slowly inhale and slowly, slowly exhale. So remember, you count 7 to breathe in, 11 to breathe out. You visualize that you're seeing darkness, maybe even blackness. And a big no-no is never put pressure on your cheekbones. If you want to put pressure on anything, it's on your elbows, but have to lean against something tall enough that will allow you to put your hands around the eye orbits. And you don't bend your neck and you don't straighten your neck. You don't bend it backwards or forwards, it is straight. So sorry, you don't bend your neck and you don't extend your neck, it is completely straight. Your belly moves when you breathe. Your chest moves when you breathe. Your ribs move when you breathe. Your back moves when you breathe. The whole upper torso moves. And in your visualization, you can even visualize that your head moves. And it expands when you breathe in, and it shrinks when you breathe out. 6, 7 minutes of this can make such a difference. You could be in the middle of your day, really fatigued with your eyes, and the fatigue stops after doing this exercise. But don't ever do it without preparing for it, because you don't want to have a stiff middle back and a tight skull before you do it. It all has to be loose. So you breathe in, and you breathe out, and you feel and visualize that your eyes are soft. And you visualize that you're looking at darkness and perhaps even blackness. And don't take your hands off until I tell you to do so. I'm taking them off now for a second to just watch the time. And we have another minute, which is great. So continue for the next minute to feel how your whole body gets filled with your air. Your exhalation is very slow and the inhalation is also slow, but the exhalation is even slower. So you count 7 when you inhale, and you count 11 when you exhale. And the reason why it's 6 minutes, it's an amazing reason. It takes that time for the thalamus, which is in the middle of the brain, to bring back all the visual stimuli we don't need. The chemical is basically potassium, K+, back to the retina. The retina digests it. One thing you should know, the retina has 10 layers and secretes it to our bloodstream. And so if you do 7 or 8 minutes, that's better than 6. But 6 is so much better than 5, because that's the time that it takes to do so. And so anyone who wants to improve the vision has to do this exercise at least half an hour a day. And you can do it 6 minutes, 5 times a day. I prefer 10 minutes, 3 times a day. And now take your hands off gently. And the important thing to talk about is blinking. We have to blink at great relaxation. Look at the gracefulness with which Jean is blinking. Very gently, very nicely. And I just want to say that in the 4 languages that I speak, which is Hebrew, English, Russian and Portuguese, I didn't see the difference between squinting and blinking. So I have to invent it and basically say, in squinting, we use the face. Don't use the face to blink. Blink really gently, blink a lot. Most people who use smartphones a lot, most people who use the internet a lot and type a lot, blink basically a third of the blinking they need. Around 7 blinking per minute instead of 22 blinking per minute. We need to blink often, but not in a spastic way, gently. And there's much more that we talk about in future times. So now I want you all to stand. You know, one of the worst things that we have is that we sit a lot. I don't know why doctors call sitting the new smoking. I mean, I was against sitting so excessively for the last 46 years since I started to teach this work. Sitting is hard on the body. And so anytime that we can, we should stand up and hold something or not hold something, depends on your balance capacity. And because of the nystagmus that I had for many years when my eyes were moving involuntarily, I do not have the balance that I need for that. So I'm holding the chair, and Ryan, you can actually point down to my leg. And I'm grabbing my leg and I'm lifting the leg backwards. So I'm lifting it both with itself and I'm lifting it back with my hand and with the leg itself. So both. Now, Ryan, show my upper body and my head. And at the same time, I'm looking at the head. So I'm sorry the camera does not show my whole body from this distance. Do you need me to go back for you to show my whole body? Or
Let me see how much I got here.
let's see if I can go back. Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm holding my leg. And I'm sorry for everybody at home. We're still learning how to use this wonderful method of Zoom Tech. And Ryan is my new technician, Constantine. But anyway, we really want to do webinars in Zoom Tech. And we can accept any suggestion from any audience who knows well Zoom Tech. Again, push the chest forwards, push the leg backwards, and now change legs. And all you need to do is 20 seconds every 20 minutes, because the back has muscles that are responsible for sitting, and the deep abdomen as well, but they really tire within half an hour. So if every 20 minutes you will stand and stretch this way, and nobody should sit in front of a desk for more than 2 hours. So every 2 hours, and even 5 minutes before 2 hours are over, stand and walk for 5 or 10 minutes. Then you finish the day with a better back. Okay, so that's one exercise. The other thing that I always love to show in all of my introductory classes is how few muscles we use. And in this case, Ryan, I would want you also to show me how other people do the exercise. And this is lift your legs sideways. Okay, good, we're seeing it. Lift your legs sideways and keep it sideways. I want to see all of you doing it as high as possible. Lean against something and lift the leg sideways. Breathe deeply and slowly. You can move your foot in rotating motion. You can bend and straighten your knee. Lift it sideways enough that I can see it with my camera, and I can see it you really did it. I guess most of you can't lift it as high as I would like you to. As high as possible, please. Show me some more people so I can see if there's more correction needed. Yeah, in this case, I'm seeing somebody lifting it high. That's good. Show me another one. Yeah. Okay, and breathe deeply. And now put the leg down. And as you put the leg down, try to assess for yourself and see if you're standing better on your 2 feet. You know, sometimes even the shoulder drops when we do it. Now, those are the side muscles. You know that people cannot actually walk without those side muscles, and yet we're neglecting them. In modern life, we don't climb hills the same way, trees the same way as people did in the past, and so we need to lift the leg sideways at least twice a day for a minute or two. So again, you can hold to the chair, or you don't need to, depends in your capacity. I need to. And you keep the leg up. You can move your foot in rotating motion, bend and straighten your leg, and breathe deeply and slowly. Keep the leg up. Keep the leg up. Try to not tilt so much to the opposite side. I'm doing a bit of it. Try to simply lift the leg as high as you can. I know it hurts, but it shouldn't. At the end, it's your leg that you're lifting sideways. Some of us can do it better than others. Some of you can probably do it even better than me. But the point is, these days there's so many hip replacements to so many people, and we don't have enough sense of our hip joints. And that's very important. Okay, we can put the leg down and see how stable it is to stand on the two legs. And for the last few minutes of this webinar, what I want to show is work on the floor. So we have a pillow here, and you can get yourself a pillow or a yoga mat or anything that you need in order to move on the floor. I don't need a yoga mat for myself, but put something soft. I have a nice carpet here. And so I'm sitting cross-legged on the pillow, and I breathe deeply and slowly, and I hold my knees, and I move my whole body in rotating motion. This is such, actually, you know what, John? I do. I want you to put the yoga mat right in front of me. Thank you very much. So I'm moving my whole upper body in rotating motion in both directions. Thank you very much. And breathe deeply and breathe slowly. I can hold one leg, and I move in rotating motion towards this leg. I hold the other leg, and I move in rotating motion towards that leg. I can change the way that the legs are, and I move in rotating motion. So I can hold one side and move in rotating motion. And then I hold the other side and move in rotating motion. And now, providing you don't have a retinal detachment or did not have a surgery of a retinal detachment very recently. Now you have to know that physicians believe you should also not do it if you have glaucoma, but I believe there's no problem. And this is move the forehead from side to side and move your head in rotating motion on the floor, on a soft area, but make sure that the hands are really supporting you. Again, if you had retinal detachment in any recent history, 2-3 months ago, do not do that. Imagine it. And if you feel fearful for any reason, don't do it. But otherwise, this is a great movement in rotating motion in both sides. And now, sit cross-legged and move your whole body in rotating motion again. See if it's a little bit lighter in your back. I want to give you, and then you see differently, I want to give you in the next webinar the exact explanation of how we work on the body. But one thing that I can already tell you, we're using areas we normally don't use in normal life. While in most gyms, people are actually working on overstraining muscles that always strain to a point of fatigue and injury. We're working on letting go of muscles that we overstrained and starting to use muscles we never used before. So just so you know, I just taught a nice workshop last weekend And I'm on my way to Vancouver. Any one of you who knows people in British Columbia can suggest for them to look at our website and look at our homepage and see I have a bunch of wonderful lectures in Boehner Bookstore, which is a holistic bookstore in Vancouver. And then I'm going to be in Seattle in East West Bookshop. So I have 3 workshops in a row right now. And then I'm coming back to San Francisco. And the most important thing is I'm teaching a training course in August in my work in San Francisco. We help you with housing. We don't allow people to stay in our place, but we help you find a good place. And it's a wonderful experience to be by the ocean, by the beach, and work with us. I'm open to questions.